So I have a couple key thoughts for people who are fitness and wellness, health professionals, leaders, and maybe some comments on some folks who are self-described gurus about this moment that we are in right now and this awakening of consciousness around justice for all lives, because we currently do not have an equitable system in this country. And so there's an awakening in the masses. Now, this awakening had already been there for many who were doing the work or experiencing the injustice. And so now we have a lot of people who are, their eyes and their ears are opening, and better late than never. Welcome. For these fitness and wellness people and health people out there who are serious about doing the work, learning more, and getting more involved and showing up as an ally, or perhaps even a co-conspirator or an abolitionist as your journey grows. Number one thing to consider, because I see a lot of people, just let's look at Instagram, for example. People, maybe they posted like a black square and they were like, oh shit, that's kind of risky for me because my brand looks a certain way. And then maybe some other people posted like a bunch of different fists that were like different shades of colors, and they were like, Black Lives Matter. And even that was like a little bit scary for them because they're like fitting in this box in their little gallery that they share on their Instagram, and they didn't want to lose followers or whatever. So for those folks, I want you to consider something that's very, very key. When we silo, let's say, wellness or fitness or health here, and we put justice and inequity over here, we fail to connect the dots that it's the same thing, okay? When we start to connect the two together, that actually frees us to speak from a place that is more true and more empowering. So what I mean by that is, if you have resources, if you have money, wealth, family support, education, you live in a fairly nice area or a fairly safe area, you have a roof, you have healthy food, you have a network of friends who are, quote, successful or educated, it is much easier to pursue a path of wellness, of health, of fitness. Everything is just much more accessible. Wellness in general is not that accessible to people who lack resources, who lack access to generational wealth, who lack access to equitable education, who lack access to healthy foods. When you're in a state of survival mode, you aren't able to focus on your health and wellness. Even just myself speaking as a coach, this past week or so, I'm in the streets almost every day, doing some sort of justice related activation. And I'm also consuming information nonstop, and my wellness and health suffered. My energy levels suffered. And so I had to go back and make sure that I was balancing so that I can sustain my efforts. Doing that is a privilege that I have. Okay. So when we start to see that wellness and fitness and health is a privilege and not a right, we need to then examine that and see, how can we imagine a world, a nation, a society, a community where access to health and wellness is a right. And when we start to dare to imagine that, we start to see what that looks like. And we start to see that, if people have access to quality health care, that starts to allow them to live more freely, to imagine themselves having different types of work. When people have access to education and different types of job training and different types of information about their body, they can become stronger and become more empowered and become more confident and live a better life, a more stable life that isn't stuck in a survival mode. And then they can begin to thrive. So as leaders in the health, fitness, wellness arena, if we are approaching it from that mindset, we don't have to silo the two and say injustice lives over here, and I don't know if I really want to deal with that. I'm going to just stay over here in my wellness lane. And when we connect the dots, all right, and we realize it's either the same field or there's a bridge that we can connect to the other, we change the game not only for ourselves, but we change the game for the people who are looking to us for leadership and information. There doesn't need to be a wall in the middle of that. Angela Davis, the great Angela Davis. If you don't know who Angela Davis is, look up Angela Davis, research Angela Davis, read Angela Davis. But the great Angela Davis is famous for saying, walls turned sideways are bridges. Walls turned sideways are bridges. So there doesn't need to be a wall between the justice movement and the wellness industry. Why not build a bridge between those two and connect the dots? Okay, that's number one for my wellness, fitness, health people out there who might be afraid to connect the dots. Okay, and number two, for people who are more in the wellness path of the spiritual wellness, we are all one, guru, namaste. For those folks, I hope now is now your wake up call that yes, one love is good and we are all one, and in theory, yes, all lives should matter, but the problem with that is that we all live in a structure, in a system, underneath a system, okay? And you don't live outside of that system, all right? Even if you're walking the planet Earth with no shoes on and swearing off all your possessions, you're still in a world that is controlled by that exploitive system. So we're not there yet. Where you want to go, the mountaintop, we're not there yet. And so ignoring that is spiritual bypassing, which a lot of people have talked about at length. And for any gurus out there who have been spiritually bypassing the conversations around injustice and inequity and structural racism and patriarchy and imperialism and all those things, now is your time to actually face the truth and actually become a true truth teller, okay? Because you shouldn't be scared of the truth. We shouldn't be scared of the truth. You know, there's the Matrix thing where you can take this pill, you can take that pill. Step through the door. The light is on the other side. If you have been spiritually bypassing the conversations and the realities of systemic oppression and injustice in this country and in this world, now is the time to face the truth and see that this truth is really going to set you free. You do not need to look at it and then feel bad. You do not need to look at it and feel guilty or ashamed unless you are in denial of it. If you face the truth and you really embrace the truth and you become an ally to the people fighting these battles for equity, there's no need to run from it. It can be a truth that will set you free, and you will be able to help support others to set them free. So let's face the truth. Let's not live in this la la land where we can just manifest love and butterflies and namastes. Like, everyone should have access to a higher level of being and love and light. I agree with that. But in order to get there where everyone has access to that, we have to address the systemic inequities that we are all under. And some folks are a lot further under, being kept down to the bottom. If you just want to do the love and light, I have a dream whitewashed version of Martin Luther King Jr., it's highly inaccurate. It's completely misleading. And that's not what we need now. And that's not what we've needed before. So if you are at that door right now, welcome, step in, walk through, open the mind, open the ears, especially white men. If you haven't been doing the work for many, many years on this topic, it's time for you to listen. You are not the smartest person in the room. You are not the guru you thought you were. And all those folks who have been following those types of gurus, I really encourage you to think about who you are accepting your information from right now. I am telling you this right now off of 20 years of personal journey and work studying race in America and African American studies in college at the university level, and then continuing to read, research, be part of justice and peace movements since then on a daily basis for the past 2 decades. So that is part of my experience. And I do not have all the answers. I am often looking to brown and black voices. I am simply putting this out there as someone who is a coach in the wellness industry and someone who's also been involved in peace and justice movements for 20 years. And someone who has a background in understanding the history. So don't be afraid is my point. Walk forward. Do not put a wall between the two. Build the bridge. And you will invite more people in and have a stronger following, a stronger connection with your people. You will be more respected. You will be more of a truth teller. You'll be more empowering, not less. So don't let this moment scare you or slow you down. Continue to go forward. Continue to do the work.